Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Trek Canon Bootleg Edition. So today I wanted to talk about Season 3, Episode 9 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, episode entitled TERRANIUM. Now listen, as a person who deals in Trek Canon, in Star Trek Canon, how pieces fit together, this episode was a joy for me to watch. Because if you think about it, there's been a lot of speculation about how the introduction of the Gorn in Star Trek Strange New Worlds is going to coincide with the episode Arena from Star Trek, the original series, right? Because there's a lot of inconsistencies as far as the knowledge of the Gorn, interactions with the Gorn, all types of things that the Federation and Starfleet didn't know at the time of the original series that was kind of getting, dismissed by Strange New Worlds, or so it seemed. So right off the bat, I truly enjoyed this episode as a person who both, is a lover of Star Trek and, is a studier of its canon. This episode was just awesome to me. And this episode did a lot of course corrections from the link between Strange New Worlds and the original series. And let's get into it. So the episode name itself, TERRANIUM, right, is a play on the word terranium, which is basically just an ecosystem that you put together as an artificial ecosystem. You know, man, they like those glass jars, man. We used to make them in school with the 2-liter bottles. Man, we used to put the dirt and the plants and stuff up in there, maybe some insects, and it made its own sustainable ecosystem. And let's get into that a little bit later. So I'm pretty sure when a lot of people start to review this episode, they're going to relate it to the plot of, say, the movie Enemy Mine, right? And that would be a very accurate thing. But there's actually an episode in Star Trek canon that we could just relate it, right? Just relate it to. And that was the episode from Star Trek The Next Generation entitled The Enemy. You know, the one where Geordi and the Romulan got stuck on that moon and everything was all messed up and Geordi lost his visors and they had to depend on each other to try to, right, you remember that episode. But Trek canon, how does this have to do with an artificial environment? And okay, first of all, let's get into a quick synopsis of the episode. First of all, they come upon this region of space. When I say they, the Enterprise crew come upon this region of space where all these gravimetric disturbances are happening. They can't explain anything. It's all tripping out. So they decide in Starfleet fashion, hey, let's go map this, man. Let's go do a little mapping before we got to go and deliver some vaccines to, this starship, right? The starship, right? Kind of find out they mentioned that it's captained by Captain Decker, right? And for a second, I was thinking to myself, are they talking about Commodore Decker? Like, Commodore Decker from what? Doomsday Machinist? They talking about that Commodore Decker. But at the time, Captain Decker, okay, for people who don't know, the rank of Commodore is not really used in Star Trek anymore, right? Commodore is the rank that you obtain between Admiral and Captain. So the rank of Commodore outranks the rank of Captain, but doesn't outrank the rank of Admiral. Again, it's not really used anymore. But it was really nice to have, Captain Decker mentioned, and the fact that they're going to have to go over there to the Constellation, I believe was this ship, either I think his ship is the Constellation. Go over there to the Constellation and help them with this vaccine that's going on. Of course, because that's what's always going on. So the vaccine element puts a time stamp on this whole thing. Okay, we got to hurry up and do what we need to do. So in the meantime, Ortega, she's like, yo, I'm going to take a shuttle, man. We're going to take we're going to strap everything, strip everything out of it. We're going to go and kind of map this out, see what's going on. She ends up getting caught into a wormhole, man. A wormhole basically opens up underneath her, and you know how wormholes are, man. It sucks her up into another part of space around this gas giant with like 300 and something moons. Now, she ends up crash landing on one moon where she runs into a Gorn that's trapped there itself. Now, the thing about this episode is, one, the beauty of the CGI, man, the moon, the gas giant, how the atmosphere was interacting with the surface of the moon, all of this was, again, top-notch beautiful. Come to find out, this Gorn has been stranded there for a while. The Gorn is also a pilot. Ortega's, let me tell you something about those engineering extended courses that we found out that people like Bashir takes in Deep Space Nine. Those engineering extended courses be straight up, look, and I'm finna nitpick, but this is my nitpick, all right? If you're gonna have on a red uniform, all right, the red uniform denotes command. So on your badge, right, on your badge, the insignia on your badge should be a command insignia, not engineering, not science, or anything like that. Now, I kind of understand that, somebody like Uhura, she's part of the command staff, but communications falls up under engineering. But Ortega's a pilot. Everybody who's a pilot is part of the command staff. They wear command insignia, they wear command red. Well, I guess in Strange New Worlds, it'd be command gold, but whatever. Same thing with the insignia, though. But I digress. Now, just like in the movie Enemy Mine, you know, you got a common threat that's between the Gorn and Ortega's in these things of like these giant centipedes. Always awesome to see alien life forms on another planet, you know. Okay, but the thing is, right? Ortega's and the Gorn, they start to develop a relationship, and I'm not talking about a crazy relationship. I'm talking about a relationship of dependency. You know, a relationship of, you know, hey, I'm lonely, I need help. You know, you're helping me. You know, you got a shield that's stopping these insect things from coming. Right. So they start to develop a relationship, but of course, the Gorn growl all the time. Ortega's speaks English, so Ortega's figures out how to use the tricorder to make a universal translator, and there you go. But the universal translator is very rudimentary. Only thing it can do is say agree or disagree from the Gorn. So now, of course, the Enterprise is on a time delay, you know, a time sensitive thing too, because they want to rescue Ortega's. And when I say they, Uhura is really, 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 really trying to, like, she's really trying to get her friend back, right? So much to the point where she ends up fudging some numbers. And I thought that was, you know, not really something, you know, Federation. But if you look back, you know, that's totally supported in Starfleet. Yeah, they will for some numbers if it means to help, you know, save the life of one of their crew members. Yeah, we could go back to Undiscovered Country where Spock told them to tell Starfleet, oh no, what was it? Sulu told them, yeah, we don't know the whereabouts of Enterprise at all, man. Yeah, we don't know. Anyway, while all this is going on and they're developing in this relationship, right? Ortega's keep noticing some some light in the distance, you know, and they feel like they're being watched, both Ortega's and the Gorn, but they don't really go into, you know, that at all, or anything like that. Anyway, so Ortega's, long story short, ends up devising a plan to, you know, set the atmosphere on fire, last ditch resort to get the attention of the Enterprise, who has blocked, you know, used the ship and, you know, to block the closing of this wormhole. And again, these are things that's totally done in Star Trek canon. Hell, what was it? Picard used the ships from totally different enterprises from totally different time periods to what was it? Hold open that whole little anti-time thing. Well, to collapse it anyway. But yeah, it's totally doable in canon. Now, eventually, like I said, Ortega sets the atmosphere on fire. That gets the attention of the Enterprise crew. By the way, spoilers if I mentioned already. Captain Pike tells La'an to send her, you know, go down there and get, you know, the person. They come across Ortega's and, you know, of course, a Gorn, and they like immediately open fire and kill the Gorn. Ortega's is very pissed off about this. They're about to beam up, and mid-beam up, you know, it was real cool how they did this. They froze the frame mid-beam up, and guess who showed up? And as soon as everything stopped, I said to myself, get out of here. No way they finna bring in, an actual Metron. Now, for those of you who don't know, Metrons are super powerful beings, man. They were featured in the episode The Arena from the original series. They was the people who pit Kirk and the Gorn captain against each other, right? And decided to stop that whole little, right, the Metrons are pretty awesome. Just understand the Metrons are pretty awesome. But because they're so advanced, it's certain concepts that they don't really understand. And they kind of try to understand it by doing these experiments. Hence, the title, you know, the name of the episode, TERRANIUM. This was a ecosystem put, you know, in a whole little experiment put forth and conducted by the Metrons. And they depicted them so well, man. They depicted beautifully done. But anywho, to keep continuity on so many tips, this conversation with the Metrons took place. Basically, Ortega, you're not going to remember anything about your conversation with us. Y'all not ready to meet us? Yeah, but we're going to have to reset this whole thing and try to do this again in another fashion. In which case, that other fashion was the arena, which Kirk proved that, hey, maybe the humans aren't so barbaric and everything like that. And maybe in a few thousand years, maybe y'all be worthier to talk to us. But that wasn't the only thing that I figured out would link this episode in canon. Do you guys remember the episode, the Galileo 7 from Star Trek, the original series, where Spock decided last-ditch effort to basically ignite the trail of the Galileo shuttlecraft? I wonder if this could possibly be where he decided that was, you know, where that idea originated from. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Let me know in the comments if you guys like this episode. Thought it was a great addition to Star Trek canon, man. Explained so much like I did, man. I thought great episode. And if you guys haven't seen it, check it out. But anyway, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And as always, peace, recycle, and say to whales, you guys be cool.